Hey, hang on. Just a second. Someone that's here. All right. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Camera. Okay, good. Great. Thank you, and welcome back to this. This is week 3, right? Week 3. In fact, this entire week we're supposed to be covering branching and then looping. In previous quarters, I used to do branching today and then looping on the Thursday. And then I was thinking just this morning, actually, is that the best way to do it? They're both really simple constructs, and what we need is just lots and lots of practice using them. So let's try something this time, if you guys are okay with that. Well, we're not really starting class yet, okay? Again, we'll do the usual thing. We'll give other people maybe 10 minutes to join in, and then you guys can talk, obviously. But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, we'll try. Let's just do a combination of simple looping and simple branching today, and then when we get used to it, we can ourselves, push at the edges and grow the variety of these constructs, right? I think this is a great way to approach many things, which I don't know if I've consciously tried before, rather than actually try and learn the whole thing at once, and then not really know the motivation for learning these individual things, right? But I think that we can actually make do and start get going with just the core, which is really easy, right? And I think that because that's all you need to start building. I think, right? So this is the basic Lego blocks. And I think once we do that, we will ourselves start running into limits, right? Because I think we'll, we want to do more. And then we'll start find out, hey, if I try and use this variation of that, I can do a little bit more, right? And then we grow ourselves. And I think that is a more accelerated rate at which information may be absorbed. I don't know. We could give it a shot and see how it goes. All right. If you have any, suggestions, feel free to chime in, or if you want to go back to the slightly more traditional way of doing things, that's okay with me too. Just let me know. We'll do, a formal class on branching statements and different kinds of branching statements, right? Most of which you'll know, okay? You'll know that it's there, but you won't know why it's there. And I always feel knowing the why is a lot more important than knowing that it is there. Because lots of things are there, right? Everything you want is there, but we don't know why it's there. But once you figure out why it's there, then you can make it useful to yourself, to enhance your state of being. And I think that is a far more cementful way, I think. Yeah. Is that a good way to put it, right? Because if we go out and learn something because we want to know that to do something what we want to do, then we basically fix it with a far more mental cement in our brains than if someone told us, hey, here's a nice thing, and then it becomes an encumbrance. In one of those role-playing games, you have an encumbrance. You have to pick and choose which weapons or which things you can carry, which potions you can carry with you, because you got a limit, right? And so you got to make these wise trade-offs and say, hey, I need a balloon axe, rather than something else. All right, so you got to pick and choose. So like that. I don't know. I'm just occupying the airwaves, as you can tell, right? To save us from the awkward silence here. So, but if you guys are talking, I'll be more than happy to just partake, right? Not partake as an audience, right? As someone who's just listening in, I'll be more than happy to do that. So yeah, feel free. Or if you have any, informal questions or questions, well, until about we got 5 more minutes. They don't have to be strictly related to exactly what we're doing in class or general questions. So yeah, feel free, or talk amongst yourselves. And hey, where's Eddie? Eddie's not here. Well, I got to let him know to watch this video today. Okay. I think, yeah, maybe if nobody else is talking, I can talk a little bit about, not a little bit. I just say a lot of people are running into this issue with quest number 2, the J quest, right? And saying, hey, they're getting their heads messed up with, argc, argv. What do I do with all this? I think that because so many people are struggling at that point in a relatively easy quest, I've actually missed something out there. So I'm going to change the spec. Right? Yeah, I've not changed a 2A spec in a long time, I think. So yeah, I'm going to change the spec. In that box where I give you the starter code, I think I'll go ahead and put in a comment saying, hey, don't worry about any of the argc, argv stuff. Don't worry about anything in blue in that box, right? Only make a call to the etox function, or what is it? Etox? Maybe it's detox, I don't know. Or limerick, right? So yeah, just make a call to that using my values of dozen, gross, and score, or something like that, right? So I'm going to say, don't worry about assigning values to these guys, right? Just make a call, assuming that I've given you a dozen and a gross and a score. I've given you some values, right? And you have to believe me that the variable dozen contains the number 12, but you don't know. Right? So you're going to take my word for it and say, all right, let me take the dozen and the score and the gross that Anand says the values are, and I'm going to pass those, right, to the function that I created, right? So that is, I mean, you, right? So you would have created a limerick function or an etox function or something like that. All you have to do is, I tell you in the main, don't worry about any of that. The main will interact with the user. That's, the main that I have written already will interact with the user, whatever it is, and get the right values for you to call your function. So all you have to do is really call your function. And I think the idea, what I was trying to do there is really, make us comfortable with the fact that everything is really function driven here. And rather than do everything in main, we can basically do it in the function code and then use main to call. I think that would be a nice. All right. So anyway, if Eddie asks in the forums, yeah, we could point him at the video or basically tell him this, right? It's just all we need to do is basically, because I know that Eddie is just one person who asked that question, and I think it's still unanswered in the forum. I checked yesterday. So either someone can answer him or I can answer him, or but he is basically one person who has asked the question on behalf of many other people who have the same question. So yeah, so.
You're referring to the command line arguments, right?
Yeah, I exactly, Mark. I think, and it's not the first quarter. Previous quarters too, students were getting unnecessarily hung up over the argc, argv part of it, rather than basically calling the function. And I have to figure out some way of making it very clear in the spec. You don't have to worry about any of this. Yeah. Oh, if you guys have any suggestions, let me know. Maybe I'll make the change over the weekend.
So maybe like a 5-minute video showing very, very quickly how that cool. interacts with
totally
programming.
In fact, if you have a small video that we can basically pin the video to the top of the. I think it's possible to do it with a flare. In the flare for the J flare, I think we can make it a sticky post or something, and it'll be right at the top. But still, what about people who don't visit the forums, but do the class? Yeah, we can figure out some way. We can link to the video. We can link to the video in the class spec also, right? And say, hey, if you're and check this out, and that would be nice. Yeah, fantastic. I think that would be cool. Yeah, make a video and either share the link or post it under nonlinear media, and then in our channel. It'll be in the CS2A playlist also. So we can do all those things. Yeah, that's a fantastic idea. Thanks. Yeah, maybe we should do that for all of the quests. At some point. Especially for I'm thinking some of the. No, I think 2B and 2C. I think the quests are getting to a level where there's probably too much help in the forums with 2B and 2C, right? Because with a lot of help, what happens is that many students, although they have the option of not availing of all that help, right? Because you got the spec, and the spec doesn't tell you what to do. So imagine the very first quarter, right? When after I started questioning the very first 2 quarters, they didn't have anything to do, and they went ahead and did. So go right to the bottom of each of the flares, and you can see the first quarter students, right, struggling with the quests. And I can assure you, I don't know, the specs haven't changed a great deal, right? Maybe some edges have been trimmed a little bit, but so they were pretty much struggling with exactly the same problems as you guys were. So you can say, and they're being graded the same way too, right? It's not like they were graded harsher and you're graded, easier because you got more information, right? So there's some kind of imbalance there that needs to be addressed in some way. But ultimately, I think the choice is with the student, right? I think the student can say, well, the spec is what the first quarter students also got. That's all I have too, right? So all of that, the Reddit forum and so all of that is extra, and I'm not going to use it if I'm going to try and use the first quarter students, the best first quarter students as my comparison point to aim for, right? So I want to aim for something as lofty as the first quarter questing students who didn't have any information in the subreddit to guide them. So I aim for that. Maybe it's too high a goal, right? So maybe we don't get there, and say we're stuck with something and we're frustrated. Now, and I look at some of the email that I get, and maybe even what you guys, what some of the students, not you guys, right? So some students say about the course on anonymous forums or other forums, right? And I gather that there is a level of frustration, right? There's also a bit of reward, obviously, right? With the trophies and all, right? But there's also a level of frustration. And I think I don't know, right? There's a number of ways in which we can make that frustration go away. And one of the obviously easy ways for me to make that frustration go away is to tell you guys that it's not my problem, which means that I don't really teach you how to face your frustration, but I basically just push your frustration away by 2 years so that you're away from me, right? Maybe I'm dead and gone, or I'm out of your life, right? And that's the time when you actually start facing frustration. And I'm not there anymore, right? And then that really is not a solution to me, right? I really haven't solved your problem. What I've done is basically just got you out of my hair. I don't have any hair now, right? But basically I'm basically said, well, these guys are, I just want some free time, so I'll just give them the answer and you get it. So I say, here's the answer, go away. But our tutors actually are trained to not do that, right? And so that's one way of doing that. And I don't feel that's a successful way. It doesn't leave a good taste in your mouth at the end, my mouth anyway, right? At the end of the day, because I haven't done anything, right? I'm back to square one, right? I'm just in a loop and come back. It's the same thing again and again. What's the point, right? So I think the only way in which you can actually benefit from my sections is to feel the frustration, not feel the force. Maybe the force is the frustration, right? So you got to feel the frustration, right? And not give in to it. And I don't know, right? I also felt a lot of frustration when, but I think I think maybe, I don't know, maybe maybe it's a generational difference. I don't know, right? It's possible that as we're growing up, we do feel a lot of frustrations. And if these frustrations are quenched immediately as soon as a grown-up sees them, right? So if they say, are you frustrated that everybody has an iPad and you don't have one, and right, and so all right, so you don't feel frustrated. So and then if you keep getting rid of people's frustrations without teaching them how to handle it, then they're going to be frustrated when you're not there to handle it for them. And I don't think that's really successful. So so you have the option as a student. I think that ultimately it all comes down to it, because especially in an online environment, especially when education is free and anyone can be educated, right? Anyone. So all the information is out there and you can be educated. So because really you don't need me, you don't need anyone really today, right? Any day, really. All you need is just yourself, and you just need to be able to sit calmly and think, right? But right now, especially, it's so easy to find. Actually, you can find information anytime, right? But right now, in a specialized field like computer science, right? So it's so easy. You don't need someone to and not be frustrated. And I think the challenge is to say, well, I have the ability to not be frustrated, right? So someone's got your back. Right, so someone's got your back, or a parent or a grown-up or someone says you're not going to die, nothing bad is going to happen to you, but you got to go and scale that skyscraper or something like that, right? So you got to try it rather than say no, don't do it. Take the elevator with a couple of bodyguards around you, right, all the time, and then you're always going to be scared. And I think you got to be frustrated. And unfortunately, if it comes out badly on me, I got to take it, but I can take it, right? I don't care, honestly, right? But I can retire, but I think you can't take it. If I don't know, maybe at this age anyway, right? So, but it's better to feel frustrated, right? So, and rant. I don't care. Yeah, you can rant, right? And people can say it's a hard course, but at least it'll be that people who really want to learn can learn, right? You don't even have to be enrolled. Think about it. You only have to be enrolled in order to do the what is it? The quiz? No, yeah. Maybe the data representation quiz, right? I can open source it at some point. But what else? You got the midterm and the final. Yeah. Well, I guess we got to keep something gradable for paying foothill students and to get on the transcript and so on. Yeah, but I'd say 75% of the class you can basically do without paying, right? Anywhere in the world, right? Anywhere in the world, you basically do the class. And so that's what I'm saying, right? So I think I have to somehow discourage the use of the subreddits for reference, right? It's okay to use it to rant, and it's okay to use it to express your frustration, because you are expected to be frustrated, right? If you're not frustrated, you're not learning, right? Who are those two people, Lois and Lane or something like that, right? Who went, you got to be at the fringe and be scared of seeing a grizzly at any time. Otherwise, you're not exploring new territory. And so what's a better way to be? And I think you got to use Reddit and ask questions. But I think what's going on is that initially the Reddits were buzzing with activity, and now and I checked with a couple of 2B and 2C students and say, why, and because I look at their IDs, they're coming in too, and I know they're struggling, and they find the answers after a lot of struggle. But then I say, you're struggling obviously because you tried this at on Monday, and you got 7 points or 7 trophies, right? And then and I could see 7, 9, 11, lots of 11s, and I see, and finally you got it. But I don't see any evidence of this. Right, I don't see any evidence of this, and so we're all poorer for that, really, if you think about it, because most of us are thinking it's especially in the Bay Area, I think is right. It's a duck feet syndrome, right? All these ducks are just swimming along the lake, right? And you hardly see a ripple, right? Unless there's a huge group, but they're underneath the water, they're all paddling furiously, and you don't see all that hard work. And so a duck that's standing on the shore would say, I can never swim like that. I got to be, thrashing away to do that. But the reality is that once you're thrashing away under the surface of the water, nobody can see it. But a surface, a shore living duck will never see the thrashing and say, I can never do that, and will never dip its toes in the water. And so I'm saying that it's really it's a loss. It's a loss for the community if people who actually do struggle through these quests are either not making it known through the subreddit, or using the subreddit and not even feeling the struggle or frustration. And I think that's happening increasingly, that and you got to be careful, because I know that hopefully some of you will go on to do my 2B and 2C, and I am talking with Beta. Not yet. I plan to, right, to see if I can shuffle things around so I can offer all 3 every quarter, because you don't have to take it. Right now I'm not offering 2B, right? I'm only offering 2A and 2C. But technically, you should be able to enroll in one cohort and basically go all the way ABC with me, if that style works for you. And I hope that I will see a lot of you again in my 2B. And my request there is really, I don't know, maybe part of the issue is mine, because maybe I should just consider at some point changing the quests around so that the challenges are different, right? So you have new quests, and so you get the taste of the struggle once again. And I think after a while, people just lose the taste of the struggle and say, well, anything I have a problem with, I can just go to that Reddit and search and get the answer, right? The 15 people have faced a struggle before, and why should I struggle again, right? And I don't know if that's the right attitude, right? Because 15 people struggled and they learned. And if you don't struggle, you don't learn. And yeah, and I think it's just turning out to be a place of reference. And I'm ranting in class because it's still not 8:25. Actually, it's past 8:15. We should start coding. But no, it's not a rant. But I'm saying I think it's an idea, and I like what Mark said. Of that video that we post. But I think we should. And you should also correct me if I'm wrong sometimes. When I say something that seems very obvious, it's not obvious. Maybe it's just obvious to me because there's things that I just did so many times that I just consigned it to some subconscious part, right? So and just let me know, hey, no, that step is not so obvious, and I'm happy to slow down because I can remember. I'm pretty sure everybody can remember. Somehow just blocking off these things, right? Many people. I can remember every single struggle that I faced when I was learning computer science. Some of these were millisecond struggles, maybe, I don't know, but it was a struggle and I faced it, sometimes I remember every time that I also gave in, and more, in fact I gave in more times than you when I was your age, I think, right? But it steadily decreased over time. Gave in the sense saying I'm not going to struggle anymore, I'll go and look up the solution, right? And I've done that a lot. Yeah. In fact, I think there's a strange correlation. So there is a tendency, for me anyway, to oversolve. There used to be a tendency to oversolve a problem, right? And I think that's the reason I never used to finish my math exams as a kid, right? In my math exams, when someone asked me to prove something is something equal to something, I usually ended up proving something more complex. Or, if A is greater, then someone has to prove A is greater than B. I would do this the stupid way, which is to actually calculate the value of A and calculate the value of B and say, well, here are the two values. They can never be the same, right? But it turns out that calculating the exact values is a very inefficient way to solve the exact same problem. It's oversolving the problem, really, because what the problem is saying, I don't care what the values are. I just need to know if A is greater than B. Right? So the greater than, the ordering, which you'll also encounter in sorting, right? So in sorting later on in CS2C or CS2B, you're going to be learning sorting techniques. And many people concern themselves with knowing more about the sorting domain than they need to because what is the task? The task is, given a bunch of objects, just arrange them in increasing order. However you define the order, it doesn't matter, right? You say this is the order in which I want the items arranged. So arrange them in that order. And so you've given them function, but the other, but the oversolving mindset, right, which is me from many years ago, right? So what I would have done is, I need to arrange them in increasing order. Let me first find out a lot of detail about these, right? What is the exact number, or what is the, and so on and so forth. But the whole point of the other side telling me that, I've given you this comparator function, right? You don't need to know the exact details of these objects. Just give the two objects to this comparator function, and this function will tell you, whether this should go on the left or right. So that is oversolving, right? And in math, many questions, were designed when I was a kid anyway. Even now, I think in SATs, right? They're designed not to test your mathematical knowledge, but really to test your intuition about knowing when to stop, right? Which is really how we learn to live life too. Right? Because in life, many times, which is running a race, we've passed the end point. We know what the end is. We've got what we've got. We still keep running for no reason because everybody else is running, right? So it's just like that in math. Many times, we get the proof and we keep doing it, right? And I think the skill in these exams is training you with many examples to figure out when to stop, right? And so in sorting, and you find that you can actually do a lot more. Bring more of the CPU to bear, more of the power of the CPU to bear in the actual sorting itself than in the useless information that is not going to be used in the sorting. Anyway, right? I don't know. I'm just talking about a lot of these things, which probably don't make any sense to you, right? But when you get on to CS2B and 2C and look at some of these more, any field, right? I'm just talking about it in computer science, but you'll see this in any field. Is some of these techniques that work right? Some of these techniques that work, they're not immediately obvious why they work, right? But they do work. What was I going with that? I don't know where I was going with that. Anyway, so I think it's time. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's 8:25. Yeah. All right. I think we should not give. Yeah, I'm happy. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead. Mark, you were about to say something.
Oh, just ranting.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So if someone wants to take the screen and drive, what we'll do today is let's try and build a simple game, right? And which we can all play. It's a game that involves decisions, right? I don't know, what is that? Rock, scissors thing. Yeah, something like that, right? Or tossing, or no, tossing is too simple. Well, pick any game, right? Pick any game, and we'll try and code this up, all and play it also. Who is this, Mark? Yeah, okay. So we're going to look at Mark's screen. Thank you very much, Mark. And by the way, after Mark, line up some of the other guys who haven't gone on screen before, right? You're going next after Mark. And nominate yourself, right? So that's the way to get points, right? So you also get participation points because I'm not looking only to the subreddit, especially for this face-to-face class.
So just a quick explanation. This part, all it does is so that when instead of having the executable pop up, type in stuff and that disappears, it actually dumps all that to an output file named output.txt.
Oh, cool.
And to do this, I'm using the fstream library, but I can also delete it if you'd rather not have it there.
Hey, Mark, what is this in the context of? Excuse me, I'm a bit lost here. What is this?
Oh, I was just doing some extracurricular coding.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Yeah, get that code back up, right? Get that code back up. Let's just clean it up just for the fun of it, right? So, indent it. We do all the standard stuff that you do, right? Clean it up, get rid of blank lines. Right, and then I'll also shed a few words on and indent it and so on, and separate the return. Separate the return from the rest of it, and then the host and the declaration. A blank line before the return and a blank line after my file, the first line, right? So we got these three distinct paragraphs. No, not there. After my file. The second, after the first line. Sorry, after the first line. And I think the lines are not indented in, so all the lines 4 steps in. So basically that's essentially the structure of most of the code that we're writing. It's kind of, when we look at it instantly it's obvious most of the time, right? What's going on. So here, what Mark is doing essentially is, we used to do the C out. So this is a great demo by Mark that shows that it doesn't always have to be the console, right? It doesn't always have to be a keyboard. You can actually, instead of the console, you can tell the operating system this greater than operator, instead of C out, which is a stream that leads into the console, I'll send it to another stream, but this stream doesn't go to the console, it goes to a file. So that, C++ gives these facilities to us. It says, you can say. So,
yeah, it's just I kept reading online that if you use system.pause, someone will get very, very upset with you.
So if you use system.out?
The pause to keep the executable from closing before you can read the output.
Is that you're on a Windows machine? That's why.
Yeah. Basically, this is because I'm on Windows. And actually,
you know what? I remember. Okay, even though it's many years ago, I remember Visual Studio. You're talking about Visual Studio, right?
No, I'm just talking about general. When you compile a C++ program and it's got like a C out, for example, it'll display it on the command line for a fraction of a second and then close.
Let's fix that right now. Let's try that because many of you are using Windows machines, right? Not all of you are Mac, right? So let's just do C out and then run it and let's see that problem. Because I'm pretty sure I remember this problem from many years ago, and we'll try and fix this once and for all, right? So everybody can refer to this segment of the video.
Although I might need to change. Can anyone see the command prompt?
Do all the changes you want. Actually, I think your brace also is indented in. So you don't have to indent brace because then it doesn't, more less space available for you.
Oh, like that. Yeah, if I don't put this here.
And you can get rid of the OF stream and everything, right? So you can get rid of everything actually. Yeah, so this didn't work before, right? I mean, you were saying that you got a blank line before the C out, but you're saying that this is what basically flashed the output and you couldn't read it, right? So let's try that, because I'm pretty sure there's a fix for that in Visual Studio. There, in many compile environments, there's a fix for that. So because in Visual Studio, that used to happen to me all the time. And then I noticed Michael Losaf, he used to teach C++ before he retired, I think the year that I joined, right? In fact, we're still using his notes, right? And in fact, the pathway we followed through the course, right? It's the assignments, 2B, 2C also, right? I try very hard to change it here and there. It's very hard for me because that's the result of many years of evolution. And I think he's found the right notes to hit on this piano of CS2A, right? So very few labs even have been changed, really. I've just sugar-coated them differently. And even the sequence of topics, right? Even though every step of the way, there's multiple topics I can teach, right? Not so much in 2A, right? 2B and 2C, so many. That's even the reason why we don't even have face-to-face. I prefer to, in 2B and 2C, my only face-to-face classes are with 2A, right? Because we have a more well-defined sequence of topics to follow. 2B and 2C, there's so many out there. And then at each place, we basically have a smorgasbord. And we say, well, this week we'll look at that, right? A selection out of that, right? And so this is logic selections. And it doesn't make so much sense to have the sequence of lectures rather than tell the students to say, right, you have issues with these concepts, let's just do a concept lecture on one particular concept, right? So one of many particular concepts, and it's all student driven from now on, right? Not now on, from 2B onwards. Okay, yeah, nice. So run this, Mark. Let's see if we get a
So I just changed the sharing settings so you can see everything that's going on, and when I compile the script, it dumps an executable in here. And the reason that executable, it just runs a calculation, which in this case is literally just.
I got it. I can show you the fix right now. Can I show you the fix right now?
Yeah, sure. Should I stop?
Right. Go back to that DOS window where you ran G++. So the issue is that this is and again, it's important for us to appreciate the problem is that what we have written here is a command line program, right? It's a command line program. It's basically a DOS program is what we've written. Yes?
Yeah.
It's not a GUI Windows program. However, and it's done the job, right? Now we've left DOS and gone to a completely different operating system, which is Windows. And Windows, and in Windows, we're telling it, run a DOS program. And so what it's going to do is basically, it doesn't know it's a program. Maybe it's a DOS program. And typically think about it, right? Windows is basically designed around lots and lots of DOS programs, which are running in the background, right? Not every one of them interacts with the user. And so Windows, the operating system, is actually running millions of DOS programs in the back. And it's just going to run this as just another one of those. And it happens to open up the console and flashes it in and out. So I think that's the solution. Now, to overcome the solution, let's just stay in the same operating system, right? So, and I think all problems will go away. So this is DOS, and you use G++, which is a command in DOS, right? So it produced a program called a.out. How do you know it produces a program? Hit a lot of backspaces, get rid of the line, right? Get rid of the line. And hit the DOS command to look at the contents of this directory. So say dir and hit enter. Yeah, so there you go. You see the file called a.exe? That's a file that you created. So you want to run that file, just run it right here. So just like you ran G++, a.exe, there you go.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so I think that is the, DOS, I don't know why Windows is even allowing you to do that. Whereas, coming back to the whole issue, right? Again, it is a bug in Windows. It's Microsoft's problem, not our problem, right? So, like I said, with questing, when the specs are confusing, it's not your problem, it's my problem, right? Even though it's able to run it, I think Windows should have enough intelligence built into it to say that either I'm going to run it and make the DOS screen stay around until the user dismisses it. Why aren't they doing that? Maybe there's a setting somewhere. But even if there's a setting, it should be enabled by default, right? It shouldn't be, because yours, I presume, is a fresh install of Windows, right? From some time.
I think what it is that they make no assumptions that you necessarily want to see that output if you're just clicking on the executable.
Yeah, I think they assume that not everybody's a C++ programmer, right? Or if you're a C++ programmer, you know this already. One of those two things.
But that explains why I had the file handling section of that bit of code I was doing earlier.
Now it all puts it in context too for me, right? Because I didn't know why, you had an extracurricular demo that wrote to a file. Now I know the motivation behind that, because you wanted to see the output of your program, so you wrote to a file. So yeah, so that's and I'm so glad you brought it up, and then we had a chance to get this all on video, so that I'm pretty sure lots of people are running into this problem, right? So we can
a proportion of the students are using Windows. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, but this is not a problem just with this, right? I think even with not VS Code, I think with Visual Studio also there's a setting. And that's what I said before, because I ran into this problem a lot of times when I was using Visual Studio, right? And then and someone showed me, I think it was Michael, right? He showed me that there was actually a setting in Visual Studio that you can check to make the DOS window, stay until you dismiss it.
Yeah, it's a system pause or a system wait function.
I don't know. It's ages since I used Visual Studio, so I don't know. But yeah, I'm pretty sure you can find it. But that was a problem. That's why I recognized the problem as soon as you showed me. But even if there was a setting in Visual Studio, I think I remember thinking that at that time, why didn't the Visual Studio engineers make that setting on by default? Right? If you're running a DOS program, it should make the console stick around, not just flash, right? They shouldn't always assume you're writing a batch program.
Yeah, but the system pause function, it kind of gunks up the works.
No. System pause is bad. I shouldn't. Yeah. I know there was a system pause, and I never used it. Right? Is system pause? This is Java. Is it system.pause or is it? Oh, no. No, there is a system pause. Yeah, in DOS or something like that. No, yeah. Oh, I see system pause. Oh my gosh, in C++, it calls the operating system, which basically system, and then you call the DOS. So go back to your DOS window. Right. So type pause and hit enter. Yeah. So this is what you get, right?
Yep.
So, and I think this is what is. So if my theory is right, this is what's going on. You write system and then open parentheses, pause within quotes, and then right. So essentially, what's going on there? Oh my God, this is so heavyweight, right? Because it's a simple program, but after that, it's got to spawn an entire operating system. Spawns DOS, right? When you the command, the function system, the job of the command system is to spawn an entire operating system, right? It spawns DOS and tells DOS, "Hey DOS, now that you're alive, I'm going to give you a single command to run." Right? It gives the command pause, and then pause is run within that DOS. Right, and then when that DOS dies, your system command dies, and all of that happens in that one line of C++. And so you see how heavyweight it is, right? So that's why I don't like that. I don't like system. Yeah, even in Unix, I don't like system that much, because Unix there's always additional considerations, right? Because when you have system in Unix, you got so many more security considerations, right? It's even in batch mode, and so yeah, ideally you want to just use system calls rather than use the shell and the operating system to do your stuff for you. Anyway, so I hope that answered your question, and hopefully this is a time mark that we can make in the YouTube video. Hey, if people are having an issue with this flyby, you can look here. Okay, what time is it? 8:40. Okay, yeah. All right, great. Does someone want to take the screen, or Mark is happy to drive, I hope, right? But if
someone else wants to drive, that's cool too.
Yeah, if someone wants the opportunity to take it.
Give anyone else an opportunity.
And what we'll do is basically open up a blank screen, blank And Isaiah, you should feel free to take it too, because you don't have to have the camera on. We need the speaker. Actually, we don't even need the speaker, right? Because you just need to be able to hear. No, I think we should be able to hear you too. So yeah, I think the speaker and microphone, right? So you need the speaker and microphone, and then you need to be able to share your screen, right? So you can forget about the camera. So Isaiah can go too. I think Elizabeth's had a chance. Maxim's got it. All of you have had a chance. Rishab, and how are you on? So the two of you haven't had a chance to go on screen. Yeah, I think Rishabh is also a new student, right? He just joined. He joined. Yeah, Rishabh, you've missed the last two classes, yes? Hello, Rishabh, are you there? Wow. I hope I didn't scare him off.
They're putting my thumbs up.
All right. Who else? Who else is here that hasn't gone? Ray, do you want to go?
Yeah, I can go.
Right. You can go, and then Rishabh, you can line up, right? Rishabh, you can go after Ray if you want. Just watch what Ray is doing. And at some point when Ray wants to hand over, he'll basically say, let Rishabh go, and then he'll hand over, right? We'll find a way to share screens and things like that later. All right, or share the content. Hey, Rishabh, just pick up the pick up the screen. Share any code editor that you have. Empty screen is fine. Empty code file is fine. And then we'll also, while you're doing that, let the rest of us think about a game that we want to code. Okay, some simple game. So let's say the first alternative. If nobody else has a suggestion, let's do this. Let's do a very simple. Let's do rock paper scissors, right? If nobody else has any other suggestion, we're just going to do rock paper scissors. It'll have a loop. We'll walk through the loop, and then inside the loop, it'll ask the user what they have and then compare it to, and I don't know what wins against what, right? You guys have to help me out, and then we'll do some if statements and print the right things out, go back to the loop. Okay, so we'll do that. Well, that's only our starting point, right? If someone else has a better game, we can do that, right? Or we can do both, right? It doesn't matter. We can do multiple games. I think we should be able to get through. Yeah, how about this, right? With Ray, we'll do rock paper scissors. Hey Ray, you're doing Xcode? That's great. Okay.
I'm using Xcode.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, fantastic. Which means that yeah, your console is right there at the bottom, and everything is set up. So we'll just be able to use Xcode. All right. So this is basically the if you're using Xcode, how you're going to share the code with? Yeah, we'll complete the game, right? We'll complete the game here, and then Rishabh can do some other game, right? We'll just come up with something else very similar to this. And who is this, by the way? Is it Ray? Ray. Okay. Ray. Yeah. Right. Okay. So we got both How You Want and Rishabh, two people who can go next. All right. So what else? Or we want do we guys want to do rock paper scissors? Simple version of rock paper scissors to start with.
We could also do a guessing game.
Guessing game. All right. We're gonna do guessing game next. Yeah. How about that? Who is that? Christopher?
Yeah, that was.
All right, so yeah, keep that in mind too, right? So that's also a valid contender for the next thing we're going to do, right? So the reason is because I think I have a vague memory of having done this already once. We haven't. This is our first programming class. No, we did. We programmed last class too, right?
I think week 2, someone did a guessing game.
Yeah, so I'm not.
And then another person did like an iteration of blackjack.
That's right. Yeah, that's how I remember it. But we'll still do it, right? That's why it's a valid contender. It's not the one that we're going to do now. Okay. Oh, that's one of our questions. Hey, Rishabh, by the way, your stuff is coming up in chat, and this is something that you may not know because you weren't there the first few lectures. Chat is unreliable as a form of communication in this class because I don't have the chat window up, and sometimes the chat message flashes and disappears. So the best way to communicate in this class is just speak up like everybody else, right? So, and we're just in a group. It's like a coffee. It's like a Starbucks. It's a virtual Starbucks. We're all in there. We're just having a conversation. Okay, so just like that. So nobody's a teacher, and so don't think of it that way. Okay, so if nobody else has any suggestions, we'll just do rock, paper, scissors. Very simple, okay? So what we're going to do is basically just do an infinite loop right here, okay? So here's what an infinite loop is going to look like, all right? So once we have an infinite loop, lazy to mic on that. All right, and Charlie is saying something. Hey, Charlie, you're there too. Right, so you got to go on screen. Okay, so here's what an infinite loop looks like. Once we've got comfortable with an infinite loop, you can change things into, I don't want it to go on infinite amount of cycles, right? I want it to stop somewhere, right? When we're ready to say, I want it to stop, we'll look at how we can make it stop. Until we want to make it stop, it's going to be infinite, right? So this is one of the many different infinite loops that you can do in C++, right? Just type what I say is while, WHILE, space, right? Actually, there's no space there, right? So while, open, right? And inside, just say true, right? Inside true, right? Well, you can actually say true, or another way to do it is go one line above while, and hit enter, and say bool, space, done, right? Done equals, space equals space equals space, yeah, equals false, right? Semicolon, and then enter, right? Now, instead of the while true, you can say while not false, yes? Because true is the same as not false, yes? Yes or no? So you guys have to chime in, right? In chat, not in chat, not in verbal, right? So true is the same as not false, and false is the same as not true. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, because we got to be on the same page. Here. Okay, if that is not the same, then we got nowhere to go. Okay, so all right. Well, all right. So except
It's a exclamation point after the.
Yeah, so I think also the funny thing is not also seems to work in I think C++ 2017, 2019. Yeah, so I think they introduced NOT as a synonym for exclamation mark, right? You say exclamation mark. I think that's more readable to a traditional C++ programmers. Okay, so change the NOT to exclamation mark, right? So we don't need the sweetness of NOT, right? So we just know exclamation mark, right? Instead of NOT, just say exclamation mark, right? Exclamation mark. Okay.
How do you type it?
Oh, yeah, I think it's shift one.
Shift one.
Yeah. Okay. So when C++ programmers see the exclamation mark, okay, they always say not, right? When mathematicians see exclamation mark, they always say
Factorial.
Factorial. Okay. All right. Great. Okay. So we're both mathematicians and C++ programmers, right? So when it's on this side, it's exclamation, and on that side, it's factorial. Okay. So when it's on the left-hand side, we read it as not. Okay. So it's not. So this is the same as while true. While true is an infinite loop, right? So here we're saying while not false, which is the same. But we know what is false, right? We know what is false. Yes. What is false? Something in here, something in your program, we know for sure is false. What is false?
0.
Some variable we have as false.
Oh, done.
Done, right? So we have a variable that we've conveniently defined, and it is called done, right? And its current value is false. Okay, so let's get rid of false in the while line, and instead of false, we'll just say done. No. While not, you don't fiddle with the not, right? While not done. No, NOT, right? So the exclamation mark itself means not. Yeah.
Yeah.
The exclamation mark itself means not, so you don't need NOT, right? Yeah. Now you say done instead of not, right? You say done, DONE, right? So all right, great. And typically people also omit the space between the exclamation mark and the done. So it's when you read it. So now, and then after the curly, after the parentheses, stick a space and then a curly brace, space and a curly brace, enter, right? Now everything inside of the braces, that is called the body of the loop, right? That's called the body of the loop, and that is going to be executed an infinite number of times, again and again, right? It's like that cycle of rebirth right there. It's keep doing again and again until a condition is true, right? Because when is that condition true? When is the condition true? As soon as you're going to do that while it's true, right? While it's, if what is true becomes false, then you exit. How can it become false? It can become false when not, right? When it is not when it's not true, it's false, right? So when done becomes true, then you'll be evaluating not done, not true, false, right? Because it's false, the while will exit at that point. So anytime inside your loop, if you change the value of done, is done is called a control variable, right? It's called a control variable because it controls the behavior of the while loop. If you change the value done from the, to true, then it's done, right? Until it's done, it's not done. Yes. So when it's done, you say done is true, right? Until it's done, it's false. So see how it all now gels together, English wise, right? So I'm not, so mathematically and computer science wise, right, and C++ wise, it gels together, right? Because once you know the syntax, right? But now you can look at it and marvel at it from two perspectives, right? So even if I look at it, it also reads like an English. So while not done, right? Do this while it's not done. Do while it's not done, right? So that's why the choice of the name for these variables matters a lot, right? So not is basically something you're going to apply, right? So you want to make that a predicate. It's called a predicate, right? It's a sat on the mat, right? The cat sat on the mat. The sat on the mat is a predicate. The cat is a subject, right? So a predicate can have a true or false value. So the predicates always start with is, right? Done and things like that. So you can say is raining, right? Has umbrella, right? Or going fast, right? Or done. They're all predicates because predicates can be true or false. So name any Boolean variable as a predicate. And I think it makes for more readable code. All right. So while not done, inside of the body of the loop, put in a comment, right? So indent 4 spaces. Yeah, put in a comment. There and say, a comment is 2 forward slashes, right? In fact, what we should do is put a comment right at the top of the file, right at the very top, to say what this whole damn program is about, right? So right at the top, go there and put in a comment saying a game of play a game of, what is it, tic-tac-toe? What is it? What do we call it? No, there's 3 things. Scissors,
Paper, scissors.
rock, paper, scissors, rock, paper, scissors, rock, paper, scissors, rock, paper, scissors. Hey, tic-tac-toe. Yeah, that's another thing we could do. All right, so rock, paper, scissors, right? Yeah, there you go. Now, rock, paper, scissors, put in a line after that too, right? Put in a line after that, yeah, so clean, right? And now go back to your program, into your while loop. In fact, put in a space before the return, right? Return, it's nice to separate the return from everything else, right? Yeah, okay, good, right? Inside, that's the body of that's what we're going to, so the first comment you're going to put there is 2 forward slashes, right? And say, ask, no, the first thing you're going to do is pick one of 3. Pick one, so say pick, what is it, object? Rock, paper, scissors. Do we call them objects? Right, pick an object, right? Pick an object, pick an object, pick an object, right? Object, right? Now we need a bunch of different objects, right? To pick, right? So what we're going to do is we haven't talked about arrays yet. Okay, all right. Well, so all right. So pick an object. All right. So yeah, enter. Now we are going to generate a. Why is when you press enter, it's going to a line after the forward slash? Why is that? All right, anyway, all right. So so when you pick an object, what we're going to do now is basically generate a random number between 0 and 3. Right. So 0, 1, and 2. One of 3 possible random numbers, using methods that you've already done before, right? This is a guessing game and so on, right? So you're going to pick a random number. If it is 0, we pick, what is it? Rock, right? If it is 1, we'll pick paper and so on, okay? So I think that will give us an opportunity to practice if statements also. I think that's an easy way to do it, right? Okay, all right, good. So let's say int random, my random or something like that, right? Int r, just say r, int r, equals rand, yeah, close, right? Open, close, yeah, open, close, right? Now that is going to give you a number from 0 all the way to some big number, right? Some 30,000 or something like that, right? I think. Right? So we don't want that many numbers. So what we want to do is divide by 3 and take the remainder, right? The remainder of dividing by 3 is always less than 3. Yes, because if it's greater than 3, then it'll divide one more time, right? So it's either 0, 1, or 2. So you're guaranteed. No, just %3 will do. right? This is %3, right? If you divide %3, then you know for sure that your remainder R has got to be, hey, R for remainder, okay, not just rand. That's kind of cool. Okay, so remainder R has got to be 0, 1, or 2. Yes, that's all. Okay, so now you say on the next line, you can say if all conditions, including while not done and so on, right, are within parentheses, right? So if open parentheses, if R space R space double equals 0, right? Double 0 is 0, right? And then on the next line, no, you don't need a semicolon or the on the next line. You say, oh, we need a object, right? So we say after line 9, right? Bool done equals false. Insert one more variable, right? Insert. No. You leave the semicolon there. Next line, right? So it's string, my choice, string my underscore choice, my right, my choice equals. I'll just say semicolon right there, right? Yeah, just semicolon. Right? Yeah. So, all right. So if R equals 0, then you say my choice equals rock within quotes, right? Rock within quotes. Rock, R-O-C-K. You know, within quotes, within double quotes. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Next line. You say else. Right? And you say else, right? So because if R is not equal to 0, right? Now, what we want to do is else should be lined up with the if, right? Stylistically. Right? So else, this else belongs to that if, but it's lined up, right? So line up the else with the first if. Yeah. Right. So that's a standard procedure, right? Although you're right? It makes sense to have the else inside because it belongs to that if, but this is the way we do it, because then this pattern is called a programming pattern, right? You will encounter millions of patterns, right? This programming pattern lets us have many else ifs, right? Because if you indent each else in, then you can only go like 5 or 6 before you run off the right end, right? But this pattern lets you have many, right? Even 5,000 if you want, right? And so on. Okay, else if, right, space R equals 1, R double equals 1, right? So within quotes, right? So the double equals is basically a comparison operator, right? Comparison means is the left hand side equal to the right hand side. Okay, and then my choice equals rock is not within quotes, within parentheses. You just have a semicolon after rock, and and you have a semicolon after rock. Yeah. All right. So if R equals 1, my choice equals paper.
Oh, you want to put the rock in quotes if you want to have it as a string.
Yes. Thank you.
Same with the paper.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I think some of you guys already know what we're trying to do. I should just let you drive, right? Is one of you drive, right? And I'll just watch, right? I'll keep an eye on it if you guys, if you're okay with that, right? I can drive if you want, but you guys can call out and he can type, and I can chime in, right?
Looks like they're on a roll. R equals 2.
In fact, you can just do else, because there's only 3 values, right? 0, 1, and 2. If it's not 0 and 1, it's got to be 2. So you can just do else. You don't have to say if R equals 2. You can save that comparison.
Actually, it won't run faster if you use else.
Yeah, you can just remove the compiler will optimize it out, right? Most modern compilers will say that's a redundant comparison, will optimize, right? But we don't have to let the compiler do it, because we know for sure that if R is not is guaranteed to be 2, right? You don't have to check, so you can get rid of the last if R double equals 2, right? If on the previous line, right? So you can backspace all the way until you backspace until. Yeah, that's enough. And you can actually put a comment there. On the else, comment saying we know at this point we know for sure that R must be 2. This is the point. At this point we know for sure that R must be 2. So we can say that too. All right. Yeah. So go ahead. Now you want to prompt the user saying what do you pick? right? And then
So you want
you're going to compare. You're going to compare it with your choice and do whatever it is that you got to do, right? That's the game. That's all, right? And then you can play it right here, and you guys can have a blast right there. All right. So everybody feel free to chime in and chat. That's fine.
So probably want to see out. Then usually at this point, the user is going to want to know what's going on. So could just put like quotes, welcome to rock, paper, scissors, make your choice or something.
Shouldn't it be after the while loop, not inside the while loop?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What is your question?
I was just wondering if are
Yeah,
we
the
gonna
greeting should be outside the while loop, but the prompt for input should be within the scope, right?
Oh,
For the
great. Okay.
program.
All
Well,
right.
how many-
So you got the random number. You made your choice. Now inside of the while loop, you're going to ask the user, "What is your choice?" Right? You picked your choice, and you're going to ask the user their choice. But inside the while loop. In fact, what I would do is after you have the int or line, that's line number 16, I would hit enter so that that's separated from the logic, right? So you got bunches of logic there, right? No, you keep the if statements together, or the if chunk is together, and then the or is the previous line. Yeah. Okay. There you go. Enter. Okay. So the if is one chunk of logic, right? So after you've made your choice, right? So in fact, hit one more enter and just comment it. Let's comment everything out so that people who watch the video will know what we're doing, right? So say pick an object. Then you say. Oh, that chunk is pick an object, right? Previously, just picking a random number, right? Yeah, pick a random number. Pick a random number. Pick a random number between 0 and 2. Pick a random number between 0 from 1, 0, 1, and 2. Yeah, pick a random number less than 3. Yeah, under 3. Less than 3. You got to say less than 3, right? Then people will understand.
Put it
In
on
the
line
comments
16
on
or
line
13.
Yeah. Pick a random number less than 3, or less than 3, so that someone who's watching the video will know. Yeah. Okay. All right. And then here we'd say pick an object based on the random number. Yeah. On the comment there should say pick an object based on the random number. And the third comment, which will be one blank line after that if chunk, and then the third comment is going to be and prompt the user and get their choice. Right. So on the third, yeah. So after the no, not there. That's fine. That's leave it there. Leave it there. Right. Get rid of the blank line there. 17. Yeah. Okay. Now at the after the if statement, right, on line 23.
23.
Line 23. Yeah. There you go. Right. Hit one more enter. One more. Yeah. Okay. Because what we're doing here is basically identifying salient chunks of your code and keeping them all together. Right. Chunk, and then just like English essays, right? Putting paragraphs. So that's what we're doing, so that it's easier for us to follow later on, right? Now you say that your third comment is to your third comment, 2 forward slashes, and now you can say, prompt the user and ask them for their choice. Prompt the user and ask them for, and you got to spell prompt correctly. Okay. All right. Now you know how to do that, right? So you guys know how to do that. A prompt is printing a prompt with C out and then C in, getting their input, right? You know that, right? Yes. Do you want me to walk through that?
we could probably walk them through that.
Good. Go for it, Chris.
So we see out and then we put double quotes and then oh, you forgot the double quotes before
We do
the
like rock, paper, scissors, like show them the choice and then.
Oh yeah, you can do that, but
choice.
you need to put in
You can do
quotation, double quotes.
Oh yeah.
Also, 1 is paper, 0 is rock.
Yeah, or you can just ask them to type the words in rock paper.
Yeah.
Because you've got the names, right? So you can ask them for the name, the string. Enter your choice. You just say enter your choice, rock paper scissors. On line 16, you can just say enter your choice, right? You don't have to say 1, 2, 3 and enter. Oh, if 1, that it's a pain, isn't it? So you can say on line 16 or 26, on line 26. Yeah, you can just say enter your choice. And then colon space. Colon space. Or you can say rock, comma, paper, comma, scissors within parentheses, hinting to the user they got to enter one of those, right? So you can say enter your choice and then space, or you can hint to the user within parentheses. You can say you should type in either rock, or you should say rock, comma, paper, comma, scissors, right? You say enter your choice. You don't need to actually increase the size of this window. That's much better. Right. Okay. So yeah, there you go. Open. In fact, rock, comma, paper, comma, scissors, and then that's when you have the colon, and then previously and then you have the colon there, colon space, colon, the two dots, right? Colon, space, space, and then space quote, and get rid of the endl. Get rid of the endl and put a semicolon there, right? And then capitalize the E and enter. And then after choice, get rid of the colon, right? And before R in rock, put a parentheses. Open parentheses. Shift. Shift 9.
Shift 9. Okay.
Yeah.
On a standard keyboard.
There you go.
Should we do it like this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes. Perfect. And then the next line would be a CN.
Should we put a new line before the enter, since it's gonna keep repeating itself, or
new line before what?
Enter, since it's gonna keep repeating the prompt.
No, it'll only repeat it one time, right? Each time.
Oh,
One time per loop.
Yeah,
Although we might want to have a variable here for the user input. Maybe call it player choice, or
player choice sounds great. Comma, I think you need a comma. Also, using underscore when you have multiple words in your variable, using underscores or camel case to separate the words, it makes them easier to read. Player underscore choice, right? And then also my choice should be my underscore choice, but don't worry about it now because you got other stuff there. Okay. Xcode lets you do that in C++ also. It used to be only in Objective C before. Even in C++ and Xcode, you can do refactoring. Refactoring is when you change the name, when you change the spelling of one variable, it'll change it everywhere else. It's there too, automatically, in multiple files, right? It'll change the value of the variable in multiple files for you. Okay, all right, cool. So yeah, there you go. Mark, go ahead, Mark or Chris. Or,
I guess next would be to hit enter a couple times and then put a comment explaining this is the evaluation step. Now we can either do the logic first, or we can show the user what outputs were happening.
Oh, do the logic. Oh, up to you. I prefer the logic first, but if others prefer, either way works, I guess.
Don't you need to also make a restriction based on what if they put something completely random, like pizza or something?
Yeah, I think just assume that if it's not the first two, it's got to be the third.
You could scrub your input and put a catch so that it reprompts them until they put valid input. But in the interest of time, we're just going to assume that they put valid input just for testing, and then we'll put that at the end.
Yes, but it's a very good question. Who asked that question, by the way? Who asked that question?
Rashad. Also, I thought catch only does exceptions and stuff.
No. So yeah. So one of the most important things about CS2A is that we have to make sure that we go in step at the right pace and not march ahead, like exceptions and so on. That's not part of CS2A. And even in demos in class that you're going to do, the important thing is to not use any concepts beyond what's already been covered. In this case, we're making an exception because this entire week is about branching and looping. But that's why we didn't use arrays, right? Because it would have been made more sense to use arrays here, but we didn't. But I'm pretty sure there will be students, right? Because I'm thinking myself back to your age, right? Because we're all eager to show what we know. And showcase what we know, and I used to be so eager to show that I could do that. I could do this. I want an opportunity to do that. And as a consequence, I think I didn't learn much because I was more interested in showing what I knew rather than. So I think that humility takes longer to come, and with the humility comes knowledge of what you don't know, right? Because you don't know what you don't know until you're humble enough to acknowledge it, right? So once you don't know what you don't know, then you know what you don't know, then you can go and fill those gaps. And so that's one of the things that we try to keep at in CS2A is to not step ahead.
And to be
because
explicit,
lots of students are also tasters, right? So lots of students are just tasters.
when I said catch, I meant like conceptual. You could do it with a while loop.
Yeah. No, but let's, yeah, I'm sure. But what you said before, Mark, I think makes more sense. Is let's just assume that people are going to type sensible input now. And then that's a good question, right? What if they don't type sensible input? How do you sanitize the input? Because sanitizing input is 90% of programming, even machine learning, right? So that's a whole new, can of worms. But so let's assume that users are good users. Yeah, unrealistic, but let's assume that users are good users.
Or someone was speaking, I could barely.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah. So just on the point of exceptions. So for all of our quests for the whole course, we don't need to handle exceptions at all.
No, okay. Not in 2A.
Okay, just double checking.
You can go to the California State CID, right? The CID is a description of all the topics that are supposed to be taught in this in the equivalent of the CS2A, and exceptions are not there, right? I think it was there at some point and got moved out, so it's explicitly not there. Yeah, but strangely they introduced Git and versioning. Or maybe it's not part of the CID. I don't know. It's there in the modules anyway. In Michael's modules. All right, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
So I'm not really sure how to best do this.
All right, so we can do that together.
Start cranking it away at it. If my choice equals.
You just do comparisons, right? You can say if my choice is paper and he's scissors, lost, right? Or if I'm scissors and she is I don't know, rock. You make these explicit comparisons. How many choices can there be, right? For each one of those, you can have max.
Paper should be in double quotes.
I think if I'm, correct me if I'm wrong, because it's been such a long time since I've played this game. Suppose I'm rock, right? I'm rock. When can I win if I'm rock?
If you're rock, then you win when the player choice or when the my choice is scissors, right?
Oh, so that's the only situation I win if I'm rock?
Yeah.
What if I'm scissors? If I'm scissors?
If you're scissors, then my choice has to be paper to win.
Oh, so each one of my choices, there's only one that of the other that can win, is it?
Yeah.
Rock, paper. If I'm paper is the weakest, right?
No, if you're paper, then you win if the other person is rock.
Oh, okay. All right, good. All right, so then for each one of my choices, there's exactly one of the other that can win.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's easy to code then, right? So if my choice is paper, then you do that thing. So let's do the first one and then you do the rest, okay? I'll walk with you for the first one and then you do the rest, okay? So in the first on line 30, if say if my choice equals paper,
Well, okay.
I think he already had it.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if that's the right way to do it, but I'm right. And then close it there. Close it there, right there. Right. Close. Right on the next line. On the next line, you say if player choice equals what was it? Rock. Is it? If player choice equals rock, they win.
Yeah, that's when you type out the you win statement.
Right,
and the
right.
cout.
And then the cout can be indented in.
Wait, wouldn't it be you lose since player choice is rock and the my choice is
right.
paper?
Oh, you
I
lose,
got it
you lose, you
backwards.
lose. Thank you,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
You lose. And you lose, and you say, I got paper. You got to say, I got paper. You can't just say you lose, right? You got to say because I got paper. Okay. All right. Okay. End line. Now, else you say you win. Now the else needs to be attached to the inner if, right? So this is a very delicate situation, and it's a nuance in programming. It's called a dangling else, where the else always attaches to the nearest else and nearest if. There, if that else, technically, think about it, right? Think about it from a C++ compiler's point of view. That else you have could technically belong to either the first if or the second if, because an else is optional. Because maybe the second if didn't have an else, right? So it's self-contained. Therefore, that else belongs to the first if. Yes or no?
I think so.
I think it's all dependent on the
it's also possible for the compiler to think that that else is basically part of the first if, the second else, the second if, right? So the outer if that didn't have an else. So the compiler can think both ways. So it's ambiguous.
And I don't think you need anything in the parentheses. It's just else and then the curly braces, and then cout you win.
They don't win if it's a tie. So we need one more, right?
Yeah, there's three possibilities.
Tie, right?
So,
oh, is it?
I would include the if.
Okay, all right. I think, all right. So to do what Mark says, I'm not aware of that game, but maybe I'll
Control Z.
Well, if they both have rock, then no one wins.
If they both have rock, nobody wins.
Yeah. So I would Control Z until you have that else if back, because you're on the right track. There you go.
Oh, I didn't know that. So I didn't know there was a tie in this game. All right. Toys equals paper. No, paper. If it's paper, then you're trying to do the other one. Okay, all right, that's fine. But what do you do now? Paper. Okay. Then you say it's a draw. I also had paper. Then you say it's a draw. I also had paper. I also had paper. Get your pencil. Let's draw. Yeah. I also had paper. Okay, and then end line, and then what Mark's saying. What was it? The next line is then you say you win, right? Else you say you win. I had paper.
Oh.
Else.
Okay, I remember now. I'm starting to remember.
Okay. Else you say. In fact, I didn't remember this game too, right? Because I think we basically co-remembered this game together. I think because different people were missing different bits. All right, you win. In fact, I got paper. I think with the same thing we're saying three times. It's a kind of that needs to be factored out. We're saying the same thing. Here, let's factor that out. Okay. After the if my choice equals paper, if after I think we should do what Mark said, right? After my choice equals paper, on line 30, hit enter. In fact, you know what? You should put a curly brace there. So we'll avoid the problem of what is called a dangling else by saying that entire block is now inside. There's a separate if statement. So put a curly brace there. Okay, good. Right on the next line, I put a space before the curly brace too. It's nicer if you have a space before the curly brace. You want to put it on the next line? That's fine. Okay, on the next line, you say I have paper. Just say I have paper, and then you can remove the I got paper from every yeah.
So like a cout.
Just say on the next line. No, don't put it on the same line. Yeah, it's much nicer this way. Let's see out, left shift, I got paper. Okay, and line, and there. And then you can get rid of the I got paper from all the, you know. Yeah. Okay, now you can do the other guys too, right? So you can do, now close the if statement, close the if statement on the next line. No, not there.
Line 39 and then hit enter.
Actually, he already has that. Yeah, he had that thing there. Yeah, that needs to move in to the right. All right, put a brace there. Okay, good. Now I see that was part of the while. So I'm sorry. Okay, so you want to handle the other case if my choice equals I don't know.
Yeah, so you can kind of copy lines 30 to 40 and then change the variables around because you'll need to do it 2 more times. So
here's an interesting challenge for you guys. Now you can see that we're actually duplicating the logic, right? Even though the tokens are separate and different, right? The logic is the same, right? It's rock, paper, scissors, it's the same logic. So you're probably thinking at this point, right? If I'm not mistaken, you're probably thinking, hey, it's the same logic. So I should be able to abstract that out and have just one block, right? And that should take care of everything. That's actually possible, right? It's possible by using clever indexing and arrays. But you know,
don't change 30 to 40. We'll do the rest of them. There you go. Sorry, Anand, what were you saying?
No, that's fine. Go ahead, do it. I'm saying that instead of having these 3 blocks later on for homework, you try and do it with just one block. Just one block, and that handles all cases, right? And in fact, all have spaces. Have a blank line between the 3 blocks, so that you know there's one chunk handling paper, another chunk handling.
But you do have to change the logic a little bit, right? Because if we just
you have to change.
the top,
You have to change. You have to change the items. I think you just have to change the items, right? Not the logic.
Well,
yeah, sure, the items, the items, yeah.
So already that's a hint, I think, for us to think that, hey, so it must be possible for us to abstract things out and create a single block. If it's just items, then it doesn't have to be a particular item. I can just compare a generic item and assign these generic items elsewhere. So those are things that you start thinking about when you start getting tired of keyboarding. Yeah, I'm typing too much, right? I just got to abstract.
Paper would be the losing choice there.
Yeah, paper.
On line 58, sorry. Not that one. That one was correct. I was talking about the one you were mousing over on 58. And I think we're done.
We're done. We should be able to play this game. Oh, hang on. If they typed quit, right? If my choice equals quit, right? Finally, one more time. If my choice equals quit, one blank line there before that. Blank line before that equals quit. You can say done equals true, right? And then it'll go back to the top of the loop. Yeah, and then put a blank line before that. Right, done equals true. Actually, that's pretty cool, right? I don't think you have a semicolon. Oh, I see. You haven't completed that line yet. A semicolon. I think you have a blank line. Do you have a blank line after that before the brace? Yeah, you have a blank line after that. Get rid of the blank line. No, after the done equals true, you have a blank line.
What if we want to play again?
Oh, it'll keep going until you put done.
So
until you type quit. Until you type quit.
So should we have at the end of this little the code that we just wrote, shouldn't we say ask the user if they want to quit? Would you like to play again?
I see what you're saying.
Yes or no?
You want to have a separate question there saying, are you done? You want to quit? Yeah, let's leave that out for now. Yeah, I know what you're saying. You're saying let's insert another dialogue.
Well, because they don't know to type quit unless we said, right? So to exit the loop. So we need it.
Or you could just.
Oh, I see. I think Elizabeth is saying right at the top, where you say enter, rock, paper, scissors, comma, quit. That's what she was saying. Is that what you were saying?
That works.
I mean, I personally would do it separately, like
Separately,
after the whole thing is executed,
All right.
just because
Different
it's
flavors,
confusing
different flavors.
to put
Hey,
it up.
hey, before you run it, increase the size of the console. Just drag the. No. Just drag the. No. The bar between the console and the code. That the
You have
gray
to mouse
bar.
over it.
Yeah,
There you go.
just drag it up and then drag the vertical thing. Yeah. Okay. All right. So all right, go for it. Play. Play more. Hey, Peter's here. Hey, Peter.
You forgot the S.
Hey, cool. I got paper, you lose. All right, so I want to play. Let me see. Are you running again? Okay, let me see. I want to go with rock. Let's try rock. I got paper. It's cool. It's got cool. It's pretty cool. Now, you'll notice that every time you
Wait.
run.
Oh wait, there's
Oh no.
the quit doesn't work.
I think
Yeah,
I think
if you
our
click
quit statement might be in the wrong scope.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's my choice.
Outside of the if. It's out of the while. It should be inside of the while.
Or isn't it player choice instead of my choice?
Oh, that's right. It's player
It's
choice.
player choice. Yeah. It's player choice. Yeah. Thank you
That's
so much.
why.
Thank you so much. Yes. Oh, in fact, you should check that first, I think, because before you check all the other ones, you should check if they quit. Because I think they may quit and you may end up comparing it with, depending on, you might say you win and you lose before you quit.
Would you say that
in
in general?
probably say you win and you quit. Yeah.
So in general, would you say you want to test your escape sequences first when you're dealing with loops?
Yes, I that is my practice, and you can do it differently. What I do is, in many times in functions that do a lot of things, what I try and do is try and complete the quickest ones first. And I think, in fact, if you do simulation using Monte Carlo, or if you do computational, you can prove mathematically that if you have a bunch of tasks, there's a certain characterization of tasks in which the quickest ones to be done first, or the ones that should be done first, right? So what I do in code also, I think it has a bearing, maybe it's related, is that if a procedure does a number of things, but many of these things will do something really quickly and exit, right? Then I just do all of them up front so that I say, oh, let me try and take all the easy outs if they are there. So I say, if A, do this. If A, I return, quit, all those things, take care of everything. Then I say, all right, now I'm 100% sure I got to do this, right? Then I sit down and do it. Then I do it from a blank slate, and it's really cool because then you reduce a lot of your cognitive load and you can focus on the problem. And you'll find that is a great strategy to, right? So do the quit test right at the beginning, right? So that's called an easy out, right? When you have an easy out, take it. So go right to the beginning after you get the player input. Cut the quit part and keep it in your clipboard, right? Yeah, those lines, you cut it, and you got some blank lines there, and clean it up. Otherwise, you have to remember and come back later, right? Yeah, keep it clean always. Okay, now go back to the top, and after you get the user input, where do you get the user input? From the user, player choice, right? Right there.
Like 28.
Yeah, there. Enter and paste. Enter and paste. There you go. I think, oh, done equals true. Oh, done equals true. And then I think, all right, one more, we need to do one more thing. Yeah, the way we do that. Okay, here, we're going to do something.
Well,
all right.
Shouldn't done be false since we're doing it while it's true? Shouldn't
break.
Shouldn't done equal false since we're doing the while loop while it's true?
Well, if you look at 10,
oh, never mind. Yeah.
13, you'll see the logic behind why.
So there is a way to do this, and some teachers say don't do it this way, and always use a control variable like done. But here, I think is a good example that I am glad we ran into the situation because it kind of demonstrates or illustrates a situation where we have to exercise our own sense of aesthetics and judgment and say, well, everybody says don't do it like this, but is this a better way to do it, right? So here, we're going to do it in a particular way and think about, look at the whole thing and say, well, let's not do it this way and let's do it using done. right? And then we have to set the variable down and do it 2 ways in your own mind, try and figure out which is better. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Instead of saying done equals true, right? Say break. Okay, break is a special statement, right? Break and continue. Look them up online, or break and continue are two special statements in C++. Many languages, right? Is Java. Break and what breaks us is that you're in a loop. I know you're in a loop, but you're going to break out of the loop right now, right? So in effectively ignoring everything else, and he's going to break out of the loop as though the condition was false, right? It just breaks completely out. Bam. Like that. Okay, so that's called breaking out of loop. Now people, there is a school of thought, and I don't really understand them, because unless they are just rule followers, right, without thinking clearly, they're just following rules blindly. They just say never use breaks to break out of loops. Never use this. Never, right? I'm always like super duper careful when someone says never, right? Because you got to exercise judgment. Because when you say never, you're saying don't exercise judgment. No, you're in school, we're in college, we're learning because we want to refine our sense of judgment, right? We're not here to learn facts. We're learning to sharpen our razor so that we can make our own judgments, right? Decisions. So we're saying, all right, this I'm saying in my mind anyway, this is cleaner. And in fact, because I do this, I am able to clean up even better. I don't even need done anymore. I can go to the while loop and get rid of done and say while true. Make it a truly infinite loop, right? Because I know that inside the loop, I have an exit condition, because I know for sure. It's not like a big ass loop, like 15 miles long, right? It's a tight loop, right? 25 lines. So I can visually look at it. I know there's an exit in there. So I can be confident and say, I'm going to use true, right? It's an infinite loop. So I can say while true, which means I don't even need bool done, right? Have you got rid of the bool done? Yeah, there you go. I've one variable less. I got an infinite loop. I know that as soon as people look at it, they know it's an infinite loop. They know there's a break in there. Right, there's a break, and it's a very clear situation. There's a break. I don't have an extra variable. I don't need to keep track of anything. As soon as I know that I'm done, right? So I would say, and let's also be nice to the user at the very end, before return, I say cout, thank you for playing the game, right? So just say cout, thank you for playing the game. And now if you run it, you'll see that you can hit quit and it'll break. It'll say the nice things, and it's all these really cool stuff, right? End out. All right, there you go. I think that's a complete program. You should feel free to share it on Replit or some share, and share it in the forums and say, this is what we coded in class. Here's a code. You can play this game. All right. So rock, I got paper. Quit. There you go. All right. So it's very nice, and it's a simple game. It's very simple, and we coded up in class. We didn't use any complex constructs, right? Only what we're supposed to cover this week. And we also ended up using break. We talked about dangling else, right? If and dangling else, and where the else attaches. So we covered a lot of interesting concepts. It's about 9:33, right? We actually got time for more work. If Rishabh wants to go, or you guys want to play more with this code, it's perfectly fine with me. If Rishabh wants to go with a piece of, with a new kind of game, we can try and code up a new game. Not just Rishabh, okay? Charlie, Isaiah, Ray. Ray is the one who's going now. Now, how are you on? Who's he gone? Who's there? Rishabh. I don't know, some people are here. Oh, you're on there. Yeah, someone else, they can go. Hey, Ray, you should feel free to share this code, right?
Yeah, I'll share it on Reddit.
Yeah, when you share it on Reddit, what people do is just paste it, and then indentation is all messed up. There is a formatting in Reddit for code, right? So you select the code formatting, it'll come up formatted nicely. Or you can just share it on cpp.sh or Replit and share the URL.
I can put it in Google Doc. I think that would.
No, Google Doc is painful, right? Because then you got to share it or make it public, and just share it on Replit or cpp.sh. Any of these URLs that have, you go and code online, you get a public URL, just share that. It's not like it needs to be forever, right? And then you share it on Google Doc and drive and keep it there. It's like for a couple of quarters, right? No, or it'll be self-sustaining. People will just copy it and paste it, and it'll just find a life of its own. So okay, so just put it out there, and you don't have to worry. No headache after that, right? thank you so much for driving. Thank you for all, right? So Mark and Elizabeth and Chris, all of you, everybody chiming in. That's the way to code. You know, coding on your own is, you know, it could be nice when you're, you know, deeply engrossed in a specific problem you're trying to solve. It's nice to get some peace and quiet and just basically focus and crack that nut. But most of the time, at other times, other times, it's actually fun to code together. You know, and I think that's a thing, that's a point that many young students miss, is that they think that coding is a solitary activity and they got to, you know, so they just punch away at leak code and they just go to these sites and pick a problem and solve it, and then just, you know, share to the whole world that they've, you know, solved that big problem out there. And yeah, that's not the way to program, right? That's just a way to wear a different crown. Right, and the way to program is basically to get out there and enjoy it with everybody else, and then you also get to know the problems that other people face, right? And they'll get to know the problems you face. I think, you know, as long as there's no value put on these things, right? And that is creeping into the programming community amongst the youngsters, which I don't think used to be the case before. Is that there seems to be some senses of value in programming expertise, and saying that, you know, I know more than you do, or I can solve these problems, or my leak code score is this and yours. That is also, you know, this is that's just training people to pursue power and glory, right? Not really getting interested in solving the problem at hand, right? Which is where the juice is, right? That is what the whole idea is meant to, the exercise is meant to get you there to enjoy. And so to find your way, not find someone else's way. And so just forget about it. Forget about the external world, right? Forget about, look at the problem at hand, get interested, do it, you know, forget about what other people are saying. And you can have great fun. You can have great fun with programming, right? That's the point that many people miss, is that they think about programming as a means of providing bread and butter, livelihood, right? That's really sadly mistaken, because think about it. With programming, your bread and butter is taken care of in the first couple of years of your employment, right? For the rest of your life, really. Because, you know, you can be a rock star programmer, you've basically done. And what are you going to do after that? Most of the time. You're just going to, unless you know how to live with programming, you're basically stuffed. You know, you're screwed for your life if you are fixated on what programming is going to give you rather than on programming itself. Because what programming is going to give you, it'll deliver in the first couple of years. And then after that, what are you going to do? So better to use this time to get to know programming rather than get to know the rewards of programming. Well, not the material rewards of programming, right? So the inner rewards of programming should still remain. It's basically just solving problems. It doesn't have to be programming, right? You could be doing math, you could be doing some other class, you're still solving problems, but solving them in a well-defined, logical way, step by step, and subjecting them to tests, right? So and I think this is the issue that many PhD students have, especially when it comes to quests, is that I see, this is around the time when I start seeing this behavior. What time is it now? Do I have time to talk about it? I got about 10 minutes. Maybe I'll talk about it if you guys want to, because this is a behavior I see that many people get sucked into around this time in programming. When you get past the absolutely trivial quests and start getting into some of the more involved quests that require a little bit of thought and logic, right? And conceptualizing of and running things in your head, right? Running things in your head and testing things out locally. After Fangs and Limerick and so on, you start encountering these things. And what I see there is there are some programmers, not all, right? Some programmers tend to grind it. You know, I don't know if you've played games in which you have to grind. This is the terminology used in right. Grinding is when you know that you can't enter this match until your skill level is 47, right, or something like that, and you're 46, and you know there's only one way to get to 47 is to basically have 22 matches more, 22 matches more. So the 22 games, the 22 next matches you're going to do are basically not even going to be intellectually or fulfilling for you. You just have to get through them mindlessly just because you need to get to 47 where you can have the real battle. Right? Or if you need to become a metallurgist, you need to mine 15 tons of gold or silver, right? And so you basically pick a pickaxe or whatever it is, right? Grinding away. Right? That's called grinding. And you find that lots of people do that in MMORPGs, right? And when I was young, I got banned from RuneScape many times because I was, grinding with a robot and trying to get my, I got unbelievable rewards. Right? I got to be one of the rich guys, right? And then people started to get suspicious, and then I got banned for life, right? And obviously, you got to be prepared for these things. But it's grinding, and I noticed the same grinding is happening with questing, right? Because what happens is that people submit some code to the questing site, and they get all these trophies, and they get stuck with one trophy, and it doesn't work. And then they say, right, I'm going to make this one change, and that's the reason why. So I'm going to change the 47 into a 42, right? That's going to fix it. They change the 47, 42, and they submit it again. Obviously, the number, the problem is not with the change in the number, it's with the logic that says, if given that number changing into a 42, not change the 47 into 42, right? So the logic, so 42, and then I pick a different number, it doesn't work again. Right? So they keep on trying, and I can tell because I look at the log, and the same submission from them is coming in at approximately 15-second intervals, which is the time it takes to save, change something, save it, and resubmit it into the site, right? 15 seconds, right? So the same thing is coming in from them with one small change, 15 seconds at a, so like 100 submissions within an hour, right? And then that is the behavior of a game grinder. Because a game grinder is not really focused on understanding the skill, but rather on, just grinding away mindlessly, and you don't get anything out of this class. And the way to get out of this is just to do testing, lots and lots of testing on your own, so that you will not encounter these situations where something works, you make a small change and it works, and it's very temperamental. Next time it won't work, and so on and so forth. Excuse me, because on the questing side, I don't just do one test. So for you to pass with a minor change, right? I do a whole number of tests. So unless your logic is bulletproof, you're not going to pass. And how do you get the logic to be bulletproof? You can get the logic to be bulletproof only by doing a lot of your own tests. Right? So when you write a routine, you want to imagine that you are the questing engine, right? You are one of the servers out there, and you want to put yourself in the shoes of the questing server and say, well, Chris just submitted a file and it's supposed to do this. How do I know if he's doing the right thing? So let me test it with 0. Let me test it with -1. And you know what? Let me test it with not even a number. Let me test it with a string, right? So I'm going to try every single way in which I can break Chris's code, and I'm going to get back to him and say, hey, Chris, you didn't pass because, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to do that anyway. Why waste time? It's going to take you so much time, right? To submit and get the result back. And you can do all the testing on your own. So, and I find what happens is that many times in quests, people are afraid to test their code because they think they have something working. And it's like the goose that laid golden eggs, or what do you know? So it's no, it's more like Mark Twain. Mark Twain, right? So he's one of Mark Twain has so many witty sayings. What is this? So testing. Yeah. He said, I think it's attributed to him. It's better to be thought a fool. It's better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to say something and remove all doubt. And I think that's what he said. And I don't know, it's very witty, but it's also very, very
damaging to academia as a whole.
Yeah, it's counterproductive to young students, right? Because they think that, I don't know it, but I don't want to say that I know it, and everybody will know that I don't know it. Right? And it's also because everybody places value on people who know more. So if you get rid of it, I think, and I think because of that, that kind of filters into our own programming style, right? Because the way we interact also has some bearing. And I think when it comes to functions, Good programmers always test their functions, right? They always test. They are the first ones to break their program. Einstein would have been the very first person in the whole world to say, test my, so next month there's going to be a total solar eclipse, right? This is a fantastic opportunity to test my theory, and you won't get another opportunity for 25 years, and I won't even be alive in 25 years. So Einstein would have been the first person to say, test my theory, because I'm eager to know whether it's true or false. Right. So likewise, good programmers, they're the first people to say, right, I want to test my function. I want to know if my function is true or false. Right. They're not going to rely on users to tell me if my program is bad. They're not going to rely on the questioning side to tell me my program is broken. Right. So we want to test it. And I think because of this mental block, we're fearful. Right. We're fearful saying, oh, maybe I have a golden egg here. Maybe I have something really good. If I go and test it and then I find that it's not good, then I'm not good anymore, right? So out of fear that what we have may not be the right thing, we refuse to test it and say, we don't want to test it. We don't want to test it. And we try and stay away from testing. And that kind of mindset is actually counterproductive to programming happiness. And in life, it's counterproductive to happiness, right? Because even in life, think about it, right? There are many situations where we can actually test things out and find the truth out, right? But we know, if we know the truth, we're not going to be happy. Right? So we say, rather than know the truth and not be happy, I'll just live with this happier illusion, right? Well, just, let me believe what I think they believe about me, or let me believe this is what it is, right? So, and 100% of the time, if I'm not mistaken, I arbitrarily close, it is rarely the case that the external world is what we think it is, right? So everything is so different. It's just we are living with our picture of what we think the external world is. I don't even know what another person is thinking, right? Because they could be a robot. The only way I could think I know what they're thinking is if I project myself into them and think what would I be thinking if I were in their shoes, right? And that's the only thing I know. And and so we're going that. But we refuse to test, and I think betting. The problem is we refuse to test because. We are fearful, even though we have the right thing, right? Many people may, and or we can refine it. One simple change, one test, one simple change, then we'll have the right thing. But we don't test it, and then we end up with the wrong thing, and we live with the wrong thing, right? And I know that in life in general, and also I think in many religions, right? They say, do not. Or there is also this the request to keep us away from hardship and do not bring us to the test. No, but I think this is the wrong interpretation of what that means, right? So in many, even in Indian, it's called Sodhanai. This is a test. Don't bring us to the test, right? So it's in many religions, there's some form of this, right? What that means is not these everyday tests, right? These are everyday hardships. We need those because those are the ones that will let us fine tune our razor to tell us what this is more real, that's not more real. So test it. We can find out what's true and what is not. So that kind of test we need. What is a test we don't need? The test we don't need is where we're forced to choose between what we absolutely know to be the truth and suffering, right? Like Galileo. Right? He knew what the truth was, but yet he was forced to admit that was not true, right? So that's the kind of test we want to avoid, and that's the kind of test we pray that we don't have to deal with, right? But ordinary tests, we should be glad we have these tests because those are the tests that let us refine our product and get better and better and better and better, right? So, and I think, but the mindset, I think, I think it's more recent. I mean, not even more. Maybe it's not even more recent. Maybe it's just it's the mindset of programmers. Good programmers are always the first to crash their programs. Yeah, I think that's the takeaway from all of this. Is right. I think what I found is that some of the best programmers I have worked with are always the first people in the whole world to claim that there's probably something wrong with their code, and they've got to find out a way in which they can expose it. Right. This is right now we're writing these simple programs. And we can easily tell, right? Many of these CS2A, yeah, even 2B, we can easily tell most of the time. We can look at the function and say, well, yeah, well. Right? But soon, very soon, you'll be writing functions, and the truth of which has to be derived in your mind, right? And you have to be convinced. Otherwise, most of the time, many programmers out there are just writing on faith, right? They are using an algorithm that someone else has come up with and shown to work, right? And there's considerable mathematical proof that it works, but they themselves don't know it or understand it. They'll just use it, and and there is a great demand. This is great demand even for that kind of people, even for people who don't understand algorithms but are able to implement the algorithms as the original author or the inventor of the algorithm intended. Even that itself is a good programmer. You know, even it's very hard to find even that kind of programmer, because most programmers can't even translate an existing algorithm into code properly as the programmer intended, right? Because in order to translate the code, the algorithm into a particular situation, no algorithm is a perfect fit, right? I'm pretty sure most of you will know this already, or you will know very soon, right? Very rarely, very, very rarely, an algorithm off the shelf will be a fit to your problem, right? Think about it, right? Just like in real life, how many times? There are solutions out there, but those solutions are not solutions to your problems. However, they can be solutions. You just have to find the closest fit, and then you have to understand it, and then you can just massage it a little bit, right? Most of the struggle that I've seen with less than top programmers is that they will still solve the problem, but they'll struggle more to solve the problem because they're using a less efficient tool or a less suited tool, right? So basically, you've got something which will work, but you just got to stretch it and bend it in more places, right? And it looks unsightly as a result. But this is exactly a problem that hundreds and thousands of really intelligent people have thought about a long time ago, many times, right? And so sometimes you will actually find the exact solution, which is also elegant at the same time. And then you can take that and still fit it. Still, you need to do some fitting, right? Right? You still have to fit it to your domain. So you need to have knowledge of both the algorithm as well as a domain, because knowing the algorithm, you can now tweak the algorithm to fit the domain. But knowing the domain, you will know some unique strengths of the domain you can bring to the algorithm that some generic algorithm user does not know, right? So a combination. So that is why these experts are in such demand, that a top programmer may not be a top programmer at company A, right? Because a top programmer may not be interested in that domain. So only the person that is both good at algorithms and also interested in the domain, right? Only that person will have both sides of the knowledge, right, to bring to bear. Then they can expose the full power of the algorithm and know the domain inside out to know exactly where each algorithm fits. Otherwise, also you'll work, right? But you need a more let's say, insightful boss, right? So manager, which usually happens during the earlier stages of people's careers. You'll have very good bosses. That's another, you have to luck out, I guess, or also, luck out or hop, or find bosses that actually know, managers that know. It's hard, right? And you'll know, right? So you'll know that person knows the domain, so you don't need to know the domain. So you can just bring programming knowledge. And while you're bringing your programming knowledge, you talk to this manager and find out about the domain, more and more about the domain, right? So at some point, you'll know, right? And the manager can go and do something else, and you'll know enough about the domain yourself. I don't know, I'm talking about domain and things like that, and stuff that probably is not even relevant to you at this point. But I think we're, past end of time anyway, so it's just not class time. But today we actually did something useful, right? We actually did, we implemented the game, which is really cool. I am very happy. I'm very happy. And I'm thankful to all of you for pitching in. It's a very interactive class. Next class, maybe, what is it? We'll do one more, right? Pick another game, something like this maybe. And maybe we'll try and use different structures, right? We'll use switch statements. I will use switch statements, switch, maybe do while, or different kind of looping constructs. All these things, we'll try all these variations. Or maybe we'll do it in one way. Someone will say, hey, how about this one? And then we'll just change everything, right? And do it the other way. So we can do all those things. We still have one class. This entire week is for looping and branching. So we can do that on Thursday. And again, also thank you all so much for driving class, Chris and Mark and all of you. This is great. Let's carry on the exact same thing, and hopefully next time do bring an idea, right? Bring an idea. We'll come up with one, but ideally bring an idea of some game. It should not involve advanced concepts, right? No arrays even, only up to looping. Different kinds of looping, fine. Advanced looping constructs, fine, but nothing beyond looping, right? Branching and looping, that's all. No more array, no arrays or anything. Bring these ideas and we'll try and code it up in class, okay? And hopefully someone else, right? Maybe Rishabh can go next class. How you want this class, right? Yeah, Rishabh, who else, right? Ray, you went this time. Ray, you went today, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I got Yen Yu, Hao Yan. Who else? Isaiah also, if he's able to share the screen without the camera. That's it. Yeah, almost everybody else has been on screen. Yeah, okay. Or maybe someone's left, right? So we'll see. We'll play it by ear. But we have at least a couple of people, right? So try and make up your mind. Also participate in the Reddit, right? Don't and also here's a good way, right? Get the most out of this class. Get the most out of this class. Don't refer to past Reddit posts. I know it's all there. So what's the point? You know the solution's out there. Well, you don't get anything out of it. So if you're struggling, just ask. It's better to ask than to look up. And you're looking up. You just ask and wait and be frustrated. It's okay. You got a lot of time. Right, if you just want to pass the class, I told you, right? Only weeks up to quest 6. You got until week 12 to finish up to quest 6 and do all the exams and everything else, okay, right? So you'll pass, and also you'll find you'll pick up momentum, right? You'll pick up a lot of speed if you just spend a lot of time. Be frustrated. If you bypass your frustration, if you skip your frustration, you'll spend a lot more time later on. You'll spend a lot more time with your later quests. On the other hand, if you do spend a lot of time being frustrated now, you'll swim through the later quest. It'll be easier. It'll be at least 25 to 35. Yeah, I can't put numbers on this, right? But it'll certainly be easier later on. Just like I think it's the best thing is to just this frustration is not the end of the world. And so I think the people circumvent it. People navigate around it because they think it's the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. If you face it head on and hit and go right through it, then you'll know. Oh yeah, okay, all right. So you'll just go through everything now. So you'll know how to deal with it. Once you know how to deal with it, you can deal with an infinite number, right? Uncountable number, right? But if you don't know how to deal with it, you can only deal with a finite number. That's all right. Anyway, I'm just talking, and you guys are not, you're being way too kind here. Okay. All right. So, but anyway, thank you all so much. Okay, for sticking around after class and all. And I do really look forward to Thursday and all the ideas that you guys are going to bring, and we'll have a blast coding up a new game. Okay. In the meanwhile, share the game. Right. Maybe even embellish the game more. Add more bells and whistles to it. Share it either live or exe or in the forum or code. This is really cool, right? Or you can just say, click on this link and play this game and share your output. I'm happy to do that, right? Share your and I'll click and play and I'll say, hey, I won. In fact, here's a nice thing, right? Every time you ask them for paper, rock, scissors, put a number, right? 1, 2, 3. So then I can say I played 15 rounds and I won 7 of those rounds. Right? Well, actually 15, and then at the end, you can print the total overall statistics. There's embellishment to your game. You can say, after I type quit, you can say, well, you played 27 times and you won 13 times, or something like that. Yeah, and then that'll also give us a good idea of getting an intuition about the statistical distribution, right? Because it's not a simple distribution, right? If it's heads or tails and it's random, it's 50-50, right? No, it's not a simple distribution. The distribution is actually, the details of the distribution are hidden in the way that things are chosen. It is 3-way, first of all, right? So now the output from here, the statistics will also give us a good intuition about how likely it is that you will win the game, right? If someone wagered you, right, say, I bet that I'll beat you, then you'll know exactly what the odds are. And you'll say, you'll know, right? Oh, this game has a 37% chance of success. So this is how much I should pay for the lottery ticket, right? So all those things you can calculate. It's really fun. Actually, I don't know what the odds are for rock, paper, scissors. I should Wikipedia and find out what the odds of winning. But this way you'll actually get, in fact, you can play this game 100 times and look at the ratio that you print, and then look up Wikipedia and say, what are the odds of winning rock, paper, scissors? And find out, the number I got, and this is the number. How close are these two, right? So those are things you can find out, and a real simulation. And you can share those things too. You can share those on the forums, and sure, it's exciting information. Interesting for me anyway, right? All right. Thank you all so much, and I will see you on Thursday, okay? And obviously, if you need to have a class at other times, just let me know. I hope you found this useful. Was this class useful?
Yeah. Professor, I have a question, and may I ask you now?
Yeah, sure.
It is about the quest, because I tried to enter the quest one last weekend, and I entered from the link inside Canvas, and I typed the sentence the legend of funds, and
it's not the legend. It's not the legend. The password is all over the place, right? Jing. The password is all over the place. Okay, the password is a tiger named Fangs, or Tagle called Fangs. That's the only thing I'm not sure about, right? So because in Java it's called, and here's the name. A tiger named Fangs. Don't type the maybe I should just remove that. That's just.
But that isn't the matter. But in fact, I found but since I entered a place with a lot of dialogues and I don't know what to do next, so I just
that's fine. Yeah.
That's not the end. I went to the link marked send in class in the last class, and I write a program that prints the hello world inside it, and put up my file and submit my file on that link, and I got the link to the next quest. I mean the passcode, but I don't know how to.
You don't get it.
How to get it?
No, you. Hang on, hey Jing Hang. When you go to the site, are you seeing that circle thing? Are you seeing that circle? And then when you drag and drop your file, are you dropping it into a circle?
Exactly.
You are. Okay, so you're not in the dialogue thing. So because the dialogue thing is separate, that legend of Fangs thing is different. So let's not.
Okay.
All right. So imagine that doesn't exist. You got to drop it into your drop your files.
What I want to say is, after I drop and revise my program to match the result, I got the password for the next quest. And how and where should I get inside it? Because I only get a passcode. But
it's the same place where you entered the tiger named Fangs. Same place you entered the other password.
So that's the question. I put the password inside that
box.
And but later it requires me to upload another file.
Yes. This is for the second quest.
So so what should I upload at that place?
So I think the second quest requires you to upload one file. Is it limerick.cpp? Is that the only one that requires? So in the second quest, it'll tell you in the spec. In the spec, it'll tell you what files are required. I think it's limerick.cpp, right? You got to drag that file and drop it in. Well, I think there's a bunch of files. You got to print in. I think there's a drawcat and etalks. So I think there's 3 different files you got to drag and drop into the circle for the second quest.
So, where's the requirement? I mean, where's the requirement?
You click on the circle. Click on the big circle. It will give you the PDF file.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I know that.
After you enter the password, where it says drop the files, just click on it. It'll show you the PDF, and you can save the PDF and look at it on your phone later.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. I think that was the missing piece of information.
That's helpful.
Yeah. All righty. Okay. I will see you guys on Thursday. Thank you all. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye.
Bye.
Professor?
Yeah.
So I was coding while we talked about the class, and I got some problem from in the output.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we can share the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was taking a look at this issue as well, and it's interesting. I'm not sure what's going on.
Oh, what is this? You both looking at the same problem?
Yeah, because I share the link of the code that I.
Oh, I'm not even looking at the chat window, Changli. Can you just share the screen? We can look at it together.
Sorry, I just updated my PC, my Mac, and then it asked me to change my system preference. So.
Oh, I see. Just copy that whole. Oh, I see. And you can't share the screen. You're not.
Oh, I can share my screen that shows
okay, all right, cool. What is the problem? What is the problem?
Roughly the same script.
What is it?
It's basically the same thing. But okay, so here's what happened. I'm going to Control Z so that you can see what was going on before.
Just keep asking me enter your choice again and again.
Oh, again and again. It's not it's not accepting quit. Oh, I see. It's got into a. Oh, I see. I know what's going on. I know what's going on. You don't have to. Yeah. I know. All right. Okay. So in fact, this is such a nice thing to. Yeah. No. Run again, and I'll show you what Chianyi is trying. All right. Now type in some junk. Right. Don't type in. Type in. Hit enter. Just hit enter. Somehow hit Control D. Anyway, so I think what happened. Okay, so here's my hypothesis. Okay, somehow the stream got corrupted, which usually happens if you're trying to read a number from a non-numeric string, right? If you had ABC and you're trying to read a number, then what happens? The stream gets corrupted. I think we ran into this problem before. So if the stream gets corrupted, then every time you're reading from the screen, the stream is just going to return immediately. It's not going to try and read it. It'll just return immediately. And I think that's what happened in this particular case, if I'm not mistaken, is that the stream got corrupted so that it wasn't really pausing to ask you. It was just printing the prompt and it's continuing. And it went into that infinite loop, printing lots and lots of these prompts. Is that what happened to you?
I think so. And
well, let Mark demonstrate this problem, and I'll try and see. All right. So, oh, by the way, there's a spelling error in scissors. Okay, that's okay. All right. So, all right. What was the problem, Mark?
Well, for example, you put rock, and it doesn't really show anything. But one thing I noticed.
That's funny.
One thing I noticed is if you get rid of these parentheses, run these if statements, and then you recompile it, you get this, which is even more confusing.
Let's go back to the code. Maybe yeah. Let me just run the logic in my head for a sec. Okay, so you got the input, all right, from the user, and then if my choice is paper, then you check the. And what was the behavior we encountered before? So if you rock, the first one, the first problem, you entered rock,
and then,
it immediately went back.
Yeah, it will ask the question. Enter your choice.
All right, let's see under what situation that might happen. Go back to the code again. All right, so you entered rock, and then it never did any of the coutts, right? It just and it went right back to the top. Yeah. Oh, enter your choice, okay, and see and player choice. Oh, I see. Got it. Okay, that's because my choice is. Oh, you did initialize my choice. Did you initialize my choice to some value?
I think at the beginning, yes. The my choice and player choice.
Oh, you did. You did initialize my choice. All right. Scissors.
You know what? Just to make things more verbose, what I'm going to do is outside of all that is cout. And that might help us debug things a little.
Right. Yeah. That's great. All right. So what did you do? So you did. You ran it after the change, right?
Yeah. This is interesting. This should display.
It's not even showing up. It's not showing up.
Yeah. Oh. I think. Well, no. We do initialize R right here. So
while true. Just give me one sec here. You got the choice, and then it's not entering any of those if statements. So my choice is not paper, is not rock. Go further down. It's not matching any of those, right? Oh, but you did enter paper, right? You did enter paper and it's still not matching.
You know, I'm going to do one quick thing because this is getting very confusing with.
Why is it not printing? Why is it not printing it after you get it? Okay, hang on, Peter. Here. Okay, you can have one cookie now, okay? Here. Oops. That's it, no.
Oh.
Yeah, all right.
You know what, this might be a hint. Right,
he wants a nut, he doesn't want a cookie. All right, okay, here you go. I can give you a nut. Well, not now. All right, so what is it? Why is it not printing my choice equals that thing?
Let's just make it very verbose. Aha.
Oh, no.
That's a clue.
It does print a.exe, okay. Oh, my choice is blank. Why is my choice blank? Okay, let's go back. Now that's great. That's interesting, right? So
my choice.
Something in here is not working.
Oh, you got a double equals instead of single equals. That's why. Where you're assigning your. Here you go, Peter. We just
I see.
problem, so you can have the reward of our solving that problem. Here, where's your acorn? He said, he likes the acorns a whole lot more than any other thing that I've given him. Here you go.
Okay, that's why, because you're using. Sorry. So this is correct. What wasn't correct is this.
Yeah, the double equals was a problem, right?
Yeah, instead of assignment, that was an evaluation.
And it's so hard to spot these, right? Because it's syntactically right, but
now we got it.
Yeah, was that your problem too, Chanyi?
Actually, it is my problem, and wait a second.
So the issue was line 20, 22, and 24.
Oh wow, we got it somehow
instead of single equals.
We got to mention this in the forums or alert students, right? Because some students might actually be downloading this code or and they might.
Well, she DM'd the code to me directly. I don't think anyone else has access right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, thank you so much for helping.
Did that?
It is working now. So,
hey, thank you, Mark. That's fantastic.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Professor. So if the condition is in the bracket, we put the double equals. If it's not in the bracket, in the parenthesis, we put the single equal.
Yeah, so they're both operators, okay? They're both C++ operators, right? The equals operator is called an assignment operator. It takes the left-hand side and stuffs it in the right-hand side and stuffs it in the left-hand side. That's assignment, right? It's assigning this to that. It is different. It's completely different from the double equals operator. In fact, they should have called the double equals something else. They should have said EQ or something like that. Double equals is different. Double equals is a Boolean operator. Okay, a Boolean operator that says if the left-hand side is the same as right-hand side, I'm true. Otherwise, I'm false.
I see.
Two different things altogether, and the fact that they are the same, and then also visually similar, right? We look at it and and we say, hey, we couldn't even spot it for like 10 minutes.
Got it. Oh my God, thank you.
Yeah, I just say thanks for bringing that up, because it's a bug that could have been very frustrating, right? People could be banging their heads on it and looking at the code, and they can see it, but we couldn't see it for 10 minutes, right? They can see it and be frustrated, and that's a bad frustration. All right, okay, we can do without that. All right, thank you.
One thing that does help is to try to look at the variables at different steps of the function, and by adding a little verbosity, we're able to see that the my choice variable didn't actually get the assignment, and when we look closely at where that's happening, that's when we saw the issue.
Yeah. Hey, but you know what? Visual Studio and Xcode and some of these guys, if the same code was written You did it in Notepad. Very brave person, right? Anything less than 10 lines, greater than 10. Right? So Visual Studio and Xcode, they would have actually flagged that. They would have given you a warning with a red, yellow triangle. Is it a yellow triangle? I don't know. I forget.
If you think that's scary, you should see the stuff I've written in Notepad with Python.
Oh, wow. Okay.
This one uses GPS
far more
coordinates.
courageous than I had assumed.
This is all about GPS.
Great. Okay. So, but I'm pretty sure that Xcode would have warned us, saying that's I think it would have said something like effectless statement, right? If you think about it, it is an effectless statement, right? Because it is creating an effect, but it's lost immediately. So it would have said effectless statement.
I see. I downloaded the Xcode. I'm still figuring out how to use it.
Yeah. Oh, did you have a Mac?
Yeah, I have a Mac.
Yeah. It'll take a while getting used to it, but it's fun.
Okay.
All righty. All right. I'll see you guys on Thursday morning. All right. Bye.
Bye.